something I don't want to. I would kill to go to rehab and get off this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am afraid of failure.
You know, you got good people out here and you got bad people.
My first wish would be for no homeless veterans. Definitely no homeless kids.
Welcome to U.S. Homeless Stories.
This is U.S. Homeless Stories, plunging into the shadowed underbelly of Columbus, Ohio. Where life teeters on the knife edge of hope and despair. They dubbed this the Buckeye State, a realm once ablaze with industrial power, innovation, and the unbreakable American dream, now fracturing under unseen pressures. Shocking revelation. In the dead of night, hidden camps engulf lives beneath overpasses. Explosive spike. Over 2,156 souls in Columbus, Franklin County endured unsheltered nights in 2025. A jaw-dropping 7.4% surge from last year. Per the community shelter board. But these aren't mere numbers. They howl an unchecked catastrophe. Mind-blowing stat. Homelessness has erupted to 20-year highs, with emergency shelters logging 939 nightly, up from 6 a night ago, in a bustling city of 907,000 across 223 square miles. This bombshell unmasks a deferred dream. Pleading, how long until Columbus's heartbeat silences forever? Join us to expose the raw truth demanding urgent change. One, streets and the shadow of addiction. On certain streets in Columbus, the morning light reveals scenes most people would rather not see. Tents pressed against cracked walls. Blankets soaked from overnight rain. Cardboard flattened into makeshift beds on cold concrete. Around them lie plastic cups, crushed food containers, and the quiet evidence of long, sleepless nights. The air smells of damp clothing, stale pavement, and exhaustion that never truly lifts. This is where many wake up every day. Along busy intersections, people sit with trembling hands, eyes drifting between emptiness and alertness. The body reveals what the mind tries to hide. Addiction here isn't loud or dramatic. It shows up slowly in unsteady movements and hollow stares, in the effort it takes just to tie a shoe. Someone whispers to no one in particular, trying to stay awake. Others sit silently, looking like the fight drained out of them days ago. Beneath overpasses and beside abandoned storefronts, faint marks on the ground show where people slept because there was nowhere else to go. Small piles of belongings sit nearby, worn clothes, a single backpack, sometimes only a blanket tied with rope. When rain comes, water rushes through alleys, carrying debris and soaking everything they own. There is no dry place to reset, no safe corner to recover. Many turn to substances to quiet hunger, numb the cold, or silence thoughts that won't stop racing. For someone living on the sidewalk, that brief blur can feel easier than facing another night without shelter. It isn't about chasing pleasure. It's about surviving hours that feel endless when there's nowhere to rest and no door to close. And when evening comes, little changes. The same sidewalks hold the same people, only colder, more tired, and more worn down than the night before. From the heart of U.S. Homeless Stories, we share this because the streets reveal what statistics cannot. Living outside strips away dignity faster than most people can rebuild it. If this makes you see homelessness differently, share your thoughts below. What do you think is harder to endure, the loneliness of the street or the physical toll of addiction? And if you want to follow real, unfiltered stories about America's forgotten lives, like this video and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories. Your support keeps these realities from fading into silence. 2. Untreated wounds. There is a kind of pain on the streets of Columbus that doesn't scream or announce itself loudly. It lingers. These are wounds that never get cleaned, illnesses that never get checked, and emotional scars that go unseen. For many people experiencing homelessness, the body becomes something that must endure, not something allowed to rest or heal. It often begins with small things. A blister from walking all day. A cut that slowly becomes infected. A cold that turns into weeks of coughing. In a housed life, these are minor problems. On the street, they become ongoing battles. Sleeping on concrete or cardboard gives the body no chance to recover. Cold nights worsen fevers. Limited access to hygiene lets infections spread. And when pain becomes constant, people stop recognizing how serious it has become. The mental wounds cut even deeper. Living outside wears down the mind in ways most people never experience. You hear it in the long pauses before someone answers a question. You see it in eyes that look exhausted, even when someone tries to smile. Many wake up each morning not thinking about progress or plans, but about how to survive the next 10 hours. Loneliness grows heavy. Silence begins to hurt. After enough days of being ignored, a person can start believing they no longer matter at all. Outreach teams work to fill these gaps. A nurse checks wounds beneath an overpass. A volunteer sits beside someone who hasn't spoken to anyone all day. A mobile clinic offers a first checkup in months. For a brief moment, someone remembers what care feels like, but the darker truth remains. The body often breaks down faster than help can arrive. Some receive care just in time. Others do not. From the heart of U.S. homeless stories, we share this not to dramatize suffering, but to show what life without support truly does to the human body and mind. If this changes how you think about homelessness and health, share your thoughts below. Which do you believe causes deeper harm? Physical wounds that never heal, or emotional wounds that no one checks? And if you want to keep following real stories, real struggles, and real paths toward recovery, like this video and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories. These lives deserve attention, care, and a real chance to heal. Three, unpacking the root causes. Homelessness in Columbus doesn't begin the moment someone steps into a tent or reaches the door of a shelter. It starts much earlier, often in a quiet apartment where bills pile up faster than paychecks, where someone stares at overdue notices and silently counts how many days they have left. That slow unraveling is where the real story begins. The cost of living rises like a tide that never recedes. Rent doesn't increase gently. It jumps suddenly, forcing impossible choices. Some people skip meals so their children don't have to. Others work longer hours, walk home exhausted in the dark, and still come up short. Housing stops being a place of rest and becomes a constant fight for survival. Affordable housing is scarce. Vacancy rates are brutally low. Imagine doing everything right and still hearing, "Sorry, there's no space," again and again. Application fees are paid with money people don't really have, only to be denied once more. Each rejection feels like another door slamming shut, heavier than the last. Employment instability adds another layer of pressure. Many people are working, sometimes harder than ever before, but it still isn't enough. Hours get cut without warning. Schedules change overnight. One lost shift can be the difference between keeping a home and losing everything. The world says, work harder, yet the system often pushes back harder than any individual can endure. Mental health support remains painfully out of reach. Waiting weeks or months for help while everything inside is falling apart feels like standing at the edge of a cliff, hoping someone reaches you in time. Many people slip through that gap quietly, long before assistance ever arrives. Then comes the moment when the last option disappears. A lease ends. A lock is changed. A family's belongings are left outside in trash bags because there is nowhere else to put them. That is the moment homelessness becomes visible. But the pain started long before that day. From the voice of U.S. Homeless Stories, we share this because homelessness is not born from sudden failure. It is built slowly, from systems collapsing around people who are trying desperately to hold their lives together. If this makes you see homelessness differently, share your thoughts below. What do you believe causes stability to break first? Rising housing costs, low wages, or lack of support? And if you want to keep hearing real, unfiltered stories from across America, like this video, and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories. Your engagement helps ensure these realities are not ignored. 4. A New Life Program for the Homeless. A new beginning for someone who has spent months sleeping outside isn't just about getting a room. It's about finally feeling safe again. When a person has been living in tents, moving from one cold place to another, guarding every item they own, the idea of starting over often feels distant and fragile. That's why programs in Columbus that provide stable rooms, consistent support, and real guidance matter so deeply to those trying to rebuild their lives. When someone receives a key, it's not simply access to four walls. It's often the first true moment of peace they've felt in a long time. Many sit on the bed in silence, not because they lack gratitude, but because they are processing what safety actually feels like. No sudden noises, no rushing. No fear that everything could disappear overnight. Caseworkers become an emotional anchor during this transition. They check in, ask how someone is adjusting, remind them of appointments, and continue showing up even when progress slows or mistakes happen. That kind of consistency, steady and patient, can hold someone together more than most people realize, especially after months or years of instability. Job training and skill building help reopen parts of life that once felt permanently closed. Someone who used to work in kitchens begins learning culinary basics again. A person who once did carpentry starts relearning tools and techniques. Step by step, identity is rebuilt, not just as someone surviving day to day, but as someone capable, useful, and hopeful again. Setbacks still happen. Some participants disappear for a week. Some return discouraged or overwhelmed. Progress is rarely smooth or predictable, but programs built on patience allow room for those setbacks without taking away the opportunity to move forward. That flexibility often makes the difference between relapse and recovery. Rebuilding life after homelessness isn't fast. It is slow, emotional, and deeply personal. But with safety, guidance, and time, many begin to believe again that stability is possible. From the voice of U.S. Homeless Stories, we share these moments to remind people that real change begins with support, not judgment. If this perspective resonates with you, share your thoughts below. What do you believe matters most when someone is rebuilding their life? Safety, encouragement, or opportunity? And if you want to continue standing with stories that often go unseen, please like this video and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories. Your support helps keep these journeys alive and visible. Five, building a support network. In Columbus, a support network only truly matters when someone reaches the point where they can no longer carry life alone. That moment rarely arrives suddenly. It creeps in quietly. It shows up when someone spends the night sitting upright on a bus because staying awake feels safer than sleeping outside. It appears when a mother has to explain to her child why they can't return to their apartment, even though their toys are still inside. This is the emotional weight the support system faces every single day. At intake centers, exhaustion fills the room. People sit in plastic chairs clutching paperwork, waiting to hear whether there is a bed available. Some stare at the floor in silence. Others keep their heads up, not because they feel strong, but because breaking down would cost energy they no longer have. Staff members work quickly, but when need outweighs capacity, not everyone leaves with an answer that night. Prevention programs operate like a thin thread, delicate and often stretched to its limit. A small payment toward overdue rent can keep a family housed, but the fear lingers, knowing that one missed paycheck or a single medical bill could undo everything. That anxiety doesn't disappear after help arrives. It stays with people long after stability returns, shaping how they see safety and security. Outreach teams move through places most people pass without looking. Gravel paths near abandoned buildings, spaces under overpasses where tents are held together with rope, tape, and hope. They kneel beside someone wrapped in a worn blanket, not to judge, but to ask a simple question. What do you need tonight? For many, that question restores a sense of dignity they haven't felt in months. Shelters bring structure, lights out hours, shared rooms, long lines. But for someone who has spent too long outside, even those rules feel like relief. A bed with clean sheets, a door that closes, a warm meal. For a moment, survival is no longer the only focus. Permanent housing remains the finish line, often distant and hard to reach. And when someone finally signs a lease, it feels like reclaiming life one brick at a time, piece by piece, after a long stretch of uncertainty. From the voice of U.S. homeless stories, we share these scenes so you can feel what numbers never show. If this truth stays with you, leave your thoughts below. What does stability truly mean to you? And if you want to support the mission of telling real human stories, please like this video and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories, because these lives deserve to be seen, understood, and remembered. Six, public efforts taking shape. When Columbus speaks of progress, it often arrives through budgets, council votes, and carefully worded announcements. On paper, momentum looks real, but on the streets, change moves far slower than the need. You feel that gap standing beside someone who lost their home, not through recklessness, but because a single rent increase rose higher than their paycheck. Policy timelines move forward, but life outside does not pause to wait. The approval of a $150 million housing bond sounded like a turning point. It promised new construction, long-term solutions, and a path forward. Yet buildings do not rise overnight. Zoning debates, permitting delays, and construction backlogs stretch weeks into months, months into years. While plans inch ahead, people still line up at shelters each evening, hoping a bed opens before night temperatures drop. In neighborhoods like South Linden, signs of progress are visible. New housing developments take shape, fresh siding replacing boarded windows. But just beyond those fences, families still sleep in cars, unable to meet application requirements or secure a lease. The hardest part is not just instability. It is watching opportunity exist within reach, yet remain just out of grasp. A repurposed building on Cleveland Avenue brought more than 100 units of supportive housing. For those who moved in, it was not simply a place to stay, it was relief. Holding a key after years of rotating shelters or sleeping outdoors changes how a person breathes. Closing a door and hearing silence instead of traffic can feel like reclaiming life itself. Still, wait lists remain long. Shelters fill early. Many are told, call back tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes next week, then next month. City-funded rent assistance has prevented evictions, but too often help arrives after the damage is done. One missed paycheck can trigger a collapse. Food budgets vanish. Belongings are stored or discarded. Children change schools, and homelessness becomes a reality no one ever expected. From the heart of U.S. homeless stories, we share these truths because real progress is not measured in press releases, but in lives stabilized before they fall. If this makes you see homelessness differently, leave a comment below. What do you believe is the most urgent issue a city should fix first? And if you want to stay connected to real stories, unfiltered and grounded in human experience, please like this video and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories. Your support gives these voices the space they deserve to be heard. 7. Community and nonprofit strength. Across Columbus, the front line of support is rarely found in polished buildings or well-funded offices. It lives in church basements, filled with the smell of donated soup, borrowed community halls, school gyms turned into temporary shelters, and in the quiet commitment of volunteers who show up even when no one is watching. This is where compassion becomes real. Step into a warming center on a freezing night, and the reality is immediate. Shoes are soaked from slush, jackets are too thin, and faces carry the fatigue of nights spent awake for safety. Some people sit silently, heads lowered, absorbing the simple relief of warmth. Others watch a phone battery sink towards zero, hoping to send one last message before it dies. In moments like these, food becomes comfort, and heat becomes protection. Faith. Mission holds much of that fragile safety together. Hundreds are fed each day, not for recognition, but because hunger does not wait. Volunteers remember names, ask how someone is doing, and listen. For many, that recognition alone restores a sense of being human. When Direction Homeward sends mobile outreach vans into the city's forgotten corners, they go where need hides. Beneath bridges, behind gas stations, near railroad tracks, they meet people where survival has taken shape out of tarps and determination. A hygiene kit, clean socks, or help securing a shelter bed can interrupt despair long enough for hope to return. And beyond organizations, there are ordinary residents. A college student handing out coats before class, a parent delivering extra meals each week, a retiree driving across town with blankets in the trunk. None of them are required to act. They do so because they believe human lives matter. The truth remains heavy. There are more people seeking help than beds available. Funding shifts, encampments move, and those on the front line carry exhaustion alongside compassion. Progress is fragile. Still, community endures. It remains the strongest bridge between survival and stability. From U.S. homeless stories, we share these moments, so no one remains unseen. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below and share what role you believe community should play in supporting those without a home. And if you want to continue standing with these stories, subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories. Your support keeps these voices present and heard. Looking ahead with hope. As Columbus moves into the future, hope here is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, fragile, and carried by people who refuse to give up. Walk the streets at sunrise, and you see both sides of the city at once. Tents tucked beneath bridges, and at the same time, small efforts happening behind the scenes to change those outcomes. Vacant buildings are being evaluated for conversion into affordable housing. Tiny shelter units are being tested in overlooked corners of the city, and caseworkers continue showing up even as their caseloads stretch far beyond what one person should reasonably carry. Some of the most meaningful changes are happening with young people. Teens aging out of shelters, who once drifted without direction, are now gaining access to training programs and certification tracks that lead to stable work. Many grew up believing instability was normal, yet they are now being shown another path, one where independence is possible. These are small victories, but each one has the power to rewrite an entire future. Mental health access is also beginning to shift. Mobile counseling units, text-based check-ins, and appointment support teams are reaching individuals who have gone years without being heard. Sometimes, a single moment of connection, one conversation, is enough to pull someone back from a place they believed they would never escape. Perhaps the most powerful impact happens before someone ever loses their home. Columbus is piloting early intervention alerts for households facing eviction, giving families a chance to stabilize before everything collapses. A single rental grant, help with a utility bill, or legal mediation has already prevented dozens from entering homelessness. From the lens of U.S. homeless stories, real change begins when a city chooses empathy over distance. If this perspective moves you, leave a comment below. What do you believe is the most important step in ending homelessness? And if you want to continue following these stories with honesty, respect, and real human depth, like the video and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories so you never miss what comes next.